Herkese merhaba. İyi akşamlar. Yeah, wow. I was talking. Peki nasılsınız? İyi misiniz? Şarkılar nasıldı? Evet, tam oldular. Harika. Evet, biraz bekledik. Daha çok insan geldi. Bu yüzden biraz bekledik. Biraz şarkı dinledik. Şimdi derse başlıyoruz. We waited a little bit. We listened to music in the meantime. So more people came to the join and we are starting now. Ben de iyiyim. Teşekkürler. Bugün dersimizde isim cümleleri hakkında konuşacağız. Today we will talk about nominal sentences. It is actually a beginner topic. We have been doing intermediate and advanced topics for the past few weeks. So I wanted to do this for beginners. But of course, some of you have been there when we did this lesson. Maybe some of you already know this from outside of the server. It will be like a review for you, and we will talk about the advanced forms. We'll do practice. So I'm sure you will still learn some new things or refresh your memory. Başlıyoruz. Let's start. As I was saying earlier, today we will talk about nominal sentences. A nominal sentence is basically statements about who we are, like, or who we were in the past, or who we will be in the future. Or when you talk about your mood in the present, when you talk about your mood in the past, or sometimes something will happen, your mood will change. For example, you will be happy or you will be sad in the future. So for that type of statements, we use this nominal sentence, the to be form. And sometimes you describe what something is, what something was, or what something will be, as in you describe it, you define it. So you say, this is a cat, this is a dog, or this is a nice, I don't know, this is a nice car. So you define it, you describe it. For this type of am is are sentences, we have the nominal sentence or to be forms. But of course, that's not the only form, only thing we will talk about. This is only just the introduction. We will learn the advanced forms. There are important things you need to learn for to change your sentence from a nominal sentence into a verbal sentence. Verbal sentences are required when you use an adverbial suffix. So just to give you an idea what I am saying, sometimes we use when in a sentence, like ınca, like when I go, ben gidince, when I come, ben gelince. So we use this when suffix, the ınca suffix, with verbs. But how about adjectives or nouns, like when I am, like when I am a teacher, when I am a student, when I am sick, when I am angry, when I am sad. So there's a am, there's a nominal form. So we need to learn how to change our sentence or how to convert our sentence from a verbal sentence or from a nominal sentence to a verbal sentence. So we need to learn how to say when, önce with nouns or adjectives in Turkish. I will show examples for that when we go there. So for now, let's start with the basics. Let's start learning the main key terms. And of course, you need the thinking cap because it's very tricky. So just to give you a reference point, I first show you examples in English, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, we will talk about the Turkish grammar, but this is just the English grammar, the English examples, just to give you an idea for comparison between the two languages. So you will have a reference, you will have an idea of what we are talking about. So the key terms are like pronouns, past, present, future. And when you make a sentence, you use a pronoun, I, then you use a tense, the past tense, and then you use a noun. Sometimes you can change the tense. You can say I will be. Sometimes you can change a pronoun. You can say you will be. It depends on the case. It depends on the context. So let's slowly move to the Turkish part. How do we say these type of sentences in Turkish? It's very tricky, very detailed. It's not as straightforward as this, unfortunately, because Turkish uses suffixes, and for each pronoun we have different suffixes. For each tense we have different suffixes. Let's see them. Which suffixes do we use? And of course, keep your caps on. It's going to be like a madness of suffixes. I'm not sure if that's good news or bad news, because it could be good news because it's very consistent. It's very like solving a puzzle. Once you know the pattern, you can solve it. You can build your sentence. But it could also be a bad news because there are a lot of rules to keep in mind. There are a lot of things to learn. So Turkish is like a pyramid language. There's this metaphor for languages. Some languages are easy to learn at the beginning, then they get harder, so they are like upside down pyramids. But Turkish is like the normal pyramid. It starts big at the bottom. It starts hard, difficult to learn in the beginning, but once you get the foundation of the language, as you go up in the pyramid, how does it go? The shape goes smaller, so it goes easier. Turkish goes that way. It starts difficult, it starts big, but when you learn it, when you have a good understanding, as you step up in the grammar, in the language, it will be smaller. There will be less things to worry about. So, the foundation of this grammar is pronouns, tense markers, personal markers. And I will assume you know these translations. I am only showing them right now, but later on I will not be translating them for each pronoun. So maybe write it down, maybe take a screenshot, I don't know. Just keep it in mind. When I say ben, I'm referring to I. When I say sen, I'm referring to sen. Sorry, when I say you, I'm referring to sen. And so on. We will use different pronouns and tense markers. Of course, there are more tenses. There are like sub-tenses, like smaller tenses, or there are combinations. But there are mainly three tenses, three times. Tense is basically like a time. Past, present, future. So for the past tense, we use two suffixes, dı and mış. And in previous lessons, we talked about the difference between these two suffixes. You can see the details in your free time. You can do a search on the difference, but simply put, just to give you an idea, give the ones who don't know, just to give them an idea. The is basically things you saw with your own eyes, or things you heard with your own ears, things you know yourself. Mış is things you hear from a different source, or things you realize a while after it happened. Sometimes you hear on the news, and in that case you use mış. So like a car accident, you saw it, you were present in the street. In that case you would use the, like a car accident happened. Bir araba kazası oldu. But if you see it on the news, you were not present at that time, you are only receiving from a different source, so you will say bir araba kazası olmuş. Okay, the difference is basically that, but there are different colloquial phrases that use mış or do, but we will keep it simple. And present. So normally present tense has, of course, markers as well, but for verbs we have continuous aorist, like yapmak, to do. So we say yaparım, yaparım, I do, or yapıyorum, I am doing. But for nominal sentences, we don't have any tense marker for the present. Like when you say something is, emphasize on the is because it's the present tense. Something is something. The cat is nice. The cat is beautiful. So no tense marker here. We don't use any tense marker. We say kedi güzel. Okay? And so far I'm only talking about the examples in a verbal way, just talking about them, not typing them, not showing any pictures. In the next slide, we will see the text. So you will see the how they are spelled or how they are written. And personal markers. So one of the most characteristic or unique features of the Turkish language is having the personal markers. Of course, other languages also have that, but comparing it to English, we have different markers, different endings for each pronoun. So we have sın, is, or sometimes ke, and sınız, and lar, or sometimes lar. The uppercase letters show that there are different variations, there are different forms depending on the pronunciation. Okay, we are going to learn how to use these different forms, different variations. But the main topic is learning the present tense and the positive statements. So the lesson plan will go in different tenses: present, past, and future. And in each tense, there will be like two subcategories: positive statements and negative statements. So positive and negative statements for present, positive and negative statements for past, positive and negative statements for the future. So the first one, positive statements for the present tense. Using this is actually quite easy. Earlier I was saying it's difficult, but with the present it's easy. Why? Because as I showed in the previous table, there are no markers for the present. So that's like one less thing to worry about. So to form a sentence in the present, we use a Tarzan language. We put the words next to each other, and that's all. Me Tarzan, you Jane. That's all. But as I said earlier, or as I emphasized, we still need to worry about or keep in mind the personal markers. Compared to English, you can say me Tarzan, but when I say that in Turkish, I need to have a personal marker on Tarzan. Me Tarzan'ım, for example. Or Eugene, in Turkish that would be Eugene Sin. We need to use a personal marker on the second word. And choosing these markers are dependent on these four-way vowel harmony, consonant softening, and buffering. Three main pronunciation tips or pronunciation rules to follow. Okay, these are one of the most like essential things to learn. If you still don't know how they work, I strictly recommend you to learn them like right after this lesson. Google it or check our lesson folder and learn this vowel harmony, consonant softening, and buffering. I will keep them brief. I will keep them short. I will not go into details. I will be mostly focusing on the examples. So there's like two tables you can see. At the top, I wanted to give you a reference for the endings. And in the middle, you see the examples. So the top table shows Ben uses like a Y in parentheses and uppercase M. That means you need to choose from this vowel harmony and maybe you need a buffer letter. Let's go step by step. At least for the first example, I want to show it to beginners so they can have an idea of how it works. But I will not repeat the same steps for the other examples, so just to save time. So let's go with I, Ben. So Ben, öğretmen. Öğretmen means teacher. That's the root form, the root word, öğretmen. So I need a marker, like Ben, öğretmen. I can't stop here. I need a marker. But how do I choose im? From this table, how do I choose this? I take a look at the previous vowel in the root. Like I go here. Let me grab my marker. The previous vowel in the root is e, this one. Based on this, I choose my marker. So in my vowel harmony rule, it says after e, use e. So I use e and then im. And these only show the e examples. It would be nice if we had a different example. But let's say there's okul, like sukul. Or let's go with a different example. Hasta, I am sick. When we say hasta, there's a at the end. That's why we use hastayım. We will get there. So let's move to the you. Sen, so you, sen, it uses sin or sin or sun or sun. So I'm taking a look at the a again. So it uses e again, sin. Sen öğretmensin. And it goes like this. O öğretmen, no markers. The third singular person has no markers. And biz, öğretmeniz. Wait, there's a little paint color mistake here. That's the root. Biz öğretmeniz. Siz öğretmensiniz. Onlar öğretmenler. Or for onlar, you can also say öğretmen. That also works. And erkek. Erkek means male. So I'm a male. Ben erkeğim. But what happened here? Or why don't we have the soft G here? It's this one. This time we will also take a look here. The consonant softening. The K needs to soften if it is followed by a vowel. So like we have E here. So we need to change this K into this soft G. So erkeğim. These rules are not arbitrary. There are reasons behind them. For example, try saying erkekim. First, we say K like a strong letter, erkek. And then we say a soft letter, like a weak letter, E. So we go up and down, right? Like erkekim, erkekim. This interruption in the flow doesn't sound nice. So we need to change the flow. We need to make it consistent. So we change the type of the letter. We soften it because E is also soft. So when we soften the K, when we replace it, they make a better couple together. Erkeğim. Erkekim, erkeğim. You see the difference? The first one sounds wrong, like it irritates my eyes and my ears. Erkekim, erkeğim. So these are not mandatory, arbitrary. So you don't have to memorize the rules. But since you come from a foreign language that is not related to Turkish, you will probably not be able to learn or hear the flow. So it still makes sense to memorize the suffixes. I mean, like Turkish kids, when we when we start talking, we hear it from our parents, from our friends. So for us, it's a natural pronunciation. It's a natural flow of the pronunciation. We don't learn the rules. We just learn why or how it sounds good to us. But maybe as a second language, it will be difficult for you to adapt to this pronunciation. So you should still keep an eye on the rules. You should still maybe learn and maybe do a lot of practice. Okay, and last one. So the last one shows an example of the buffer letter. İyiyim. Ben iyiyim. I am good. İyi means good. It could be nice. Like on this topic, I have to mention in Turkish, words have a lot of different meanings. In English, we have separate words like good, nice, beautiful, or like sweet. In Turkish, we have iyi for good or nice. It depends on the context. So I will go with good. I'm good. İyiyim. So iyiyim. As I was saying earlier, these rules are not arbitrary. There are reasons in the pronunciation. So if you remove this Y, try saying it. İyiyim. İyiyim. Does it sound different? Does it sound better? İyiyim. İyiyim. İyiyim. I will say it with the Y this time. İyiyim. İyiyim. İyiyim. So I have to be fair. With this example, there's E and E next to each other, so the pronunciation is still a bit fluid. But when I show you a different example, for example, araba, arabam. We have personal marker and we have araba. There's a and next to each other. If you don't put the Y, it will be like the interruption will be more obvious, like arabağım, arabağım, arabayım. I am a hastayım. I am sick. Hasta. Hastayım. Hastayım. Hastayım. Hastayım. See? That's why we use the buffer. We need to like ease up this interruption. The pronunciation, the fluency needs to be flawless. It needs to be consistent. Instead of stopping, having a pause after a, like araba, we need to insert like a bridge between the sounds. Arabağım, arabayım. Hastayım, hastayım. Okay? So that's the idea, the reason behind the buffer. It's not arbitrary. No one wanted to make it difficult for you. No one like woke up one day and they were like, let's put a buffer for students to remember one more thing to remember. It was already there, but like I'm sure even the like when Turkish language was invented, I'm sure it was already there. Later on, when things got advanced, it was just became like put into a pattern. People made a explanation of the nature. It was already happening in the nature. We only have this explanation to why it's happening. Okay. So, yeah, I'm a little bit having memes and jokes right now just to keep it fun and explain why we have it. So now you will remember why we have it, like why we put why. And I will move to the next slide now. Negative sentences. Okay, this time I can't advocate for my ancestors. Maybe they wanted to make it difficult. I don't know why they didn't stay with the same pattern. We have a new word. We have a new thing in mind we have a new thing to keep in mind. And that's one is değil. If you want to negate a statement, you need to use değil. So I will use the same examples. Öğretmenim. How do you say I'm not a teacher? Öğretmen değilim. Öğretmensin. You are a teacher. You are not a teacher. Öğretmen değilsin. Öğretmen. He or she is teacher. Öğretmen değil. He or she is not a teacher. Öğretmeniz. We are teachers. Teachers. We are teacher. We are teachers. We are teachers, I guess. Plural. All of us are teachers. So, we are not teachers. Öğretmen değiliz. You, plural or formal. I always call this you, sir. Like when you talk to someone, you should show respect. You, sir, like you, teacher, you, doctor. I don't know. You, commander, like you, sir. You are teacher. Or you guys, siz. You people are teacher. Like y'all teacher. Öğretmensiniz. Öğretmen değilsiniz. And they are teachers. They are not teachers. Öğretmen or öğretmenler. Öğretmen değil or öğretmen değiller. So on this topic, I want to mention something. This one is like the big brother of this one, and it uses the same suffix. like the plural, singular and plural pronouns. Like the third ones, the plural is like the big brother. But sometimes like siblings use this, like they use the same clothes, they use the same shirts. So the big brother uses the same shirt, the same ending. So it has nothing. Öğretmen. Onlar öğretmen. But sometimes you might need to or want to use this the ending. Öğretmenler. It's not necessary. It's not required. Onlar öğretmen. Onlar öğretmenler. Okay? So in the next slide we will talk about the past tense, but I want to do some practice instead of me just rambling about the grammar. I want to give you an example. I will write it in chat. So let's go with, so we were talking about teacher. So that was me. Let's talk about you. Öğrenci. Student. Student. So I want you to conjugate the student word, öğrenci, for all pronouns like ben, sen, o, biz, siz, onlar, and in positive and negative statements. Maybe I can make a table so we can fill it in together. I mean, I will wait for answers, but in the meantime, I'll make a table to fill in later. So ben, so let's go with practice. Type your answers in the chat and use spoilers so your answer will be invisible to others. This way they can also participate without being exposed to the answers. I don't think I showed how to use the thread. Several people are typing. Maybe I don't need to. If there's anyone not knowing how to chat, how to use the chat, you can go to the lessons text channel and then click the thread. You will see the mention, and then you can join the thread. So ben, sen, o, biz, siz, onlar. I'll also use the markers with the patterns so you can have an idea. It's slightly cheating, but I want to give you some clues. Let's see. Evet, doğru. Doğru. I will not spare so much time for these pronunciations, these conjugations, because tomorrow there will be homework. So like if you don't get to do the practice now, you will be able to do it tomorrow. So I will wait not more than like 2 minutes, then I will move to the next slide. Evet, çok güzel. Doğru. Figuring out how to do spoilers. There are like two ways to make spoilers. Actually, three ways. Evet, doğru. So Nathan, doğru. Yeah, you can type it, select it, click on the eye, or you can use the pipes like the characters, the symbols on the keyboard before and after. Or Discord also has a slash command, like built-in slash command. You can do slash spoiler and type the message, and it will be sent in the spoilers. Okay, I will wait for Akulia, I guess. That's she is the only one that's left. With the third person singular, and almost of it is done. Let me see. Yeah, it's basically built upon each other. And that's what I meant in the beginning of the lesson, like the pyramids metaphor. While waiting, I'll use my drawing skills, not the laser eyes, but the pyramid this time. So this is a pyramid, right? And each layer, each things have things to learn. So when you start here. So you climb up the pyramids. Here there are like vowel harmony, consonant softening, cases, I don't know, like tenses, all the other foundations. As you go up, there will be less thing to learn, just more thing to practice. And each layer, like you will have less things to memorize. It will be easier as you go up. As you advance in the language, Turkish will get easier. It depends on how you see it. I see the like different details as a difficult thing, like vowel harmony rules, consonants rules. There are so many things to watch out for. So that's why it makes it difficult. But once you learn them, the other suffixes are built upon those. Like when you learn unja suffix, when you learn somewhere here in the middle, unja, you already know the vowel harmony. You already know how to insert it into the sentence. So you just need to solve the puzzle. Okay, anyway, let me see Akulia's answers. Okay, there are some mistakes. Not that bad, but mainly you forgot to use the buffer and some vowel problems. Yeah, I will write it step by step now. Ben öğrenci. Wait, I want to change the color here. Ben öğrenciyim. Ama Öğrenci değilim. I'm a student, but I'm not a student. I'm belki. Öğrencisin. Öğrenci değilsin. O öğrenci değil. Biz öğrenciyiz. Biz öğrenci değiliz. Siz öğrencisiniz. Siz öğrenci değilsiniz. Onlar öğrenci. Onlar öğrenci değil. Okay? Simple. It's all about memorizing the suffixes and learning the vowel harmony, the buffer, and consonant softening. Once you learn these three key topics, the three key essential things, it will be easier. Okay, so we will now talk about the past. I was something. And this is when I will speed up, because now you are familiar with the markers, you are familiar with the consonant and vowel harmony, so I will not explain them for each example. I will show you the past tense suffix, which is the d with other variations. D, d, do, do. Sometimes t, t, tu, tu, because of the consonant hardening. And examples. It's okay, here. Öğrenciydim. Yes. Öğretmendim. Öğretmendin. Öğretmendi. Okay, maybe instead of reading the table for each pronoun, I will give you different words. Maybe we can have a dynamic practice. So, let's say meşgul. Wait, no, this has an exception, not meşgul. Let's go with boş. Boş means empty, but we also use it as a free. Are you free tomorrow? Yarın boş musun? But how do you say I was free yesterday? Evet. Don't worry about spoilers. It will be a fast practice. I want fast answers. So this can be like a competition. Whoever types first, they will have the correct answer. Yeah, I want, like, instead of reading the same example for each pronoun, I will use different examples in the chat. And I mean competition, but there's no prize. There's no loser or winner. I mean, everyone should be typing at the same time. And you shouldn't have to worry about spoilers. Dün boştum. Dün boştum. Evet. Yesterday I was free. Dün boştum. Okay, how do we say let me think of a new word. New adjective. I will go with mutlu, which means happy. I want to say you. Yesterday you were happy. Today you are not. So what happened? Mutluydun. Evet. Evet. Sen mutluydun. Yesterday sen mutluydun. Dün sen mutluydun, bugün mutlu değilsin. Neden? Yeah, for meşgul is ü. There's an exception. That's what I didn't want to use it. But now that you mentioned, vowel harmony is very consistent, but one of the other characteristics of the Turkish language is having very like many loan words from different languages, especially Arabic, Persian, and French. Turkish is highly influenced by these three languages because of the relations back in the Ottoman era. The Ottoman Turkish had Arabic and Persian words. In the language reform, some words were replaced, some changes were made, but some stuff are still here. We still use them. So meşgul. The pronunciation is different. I'm not saying meşgul. I'm saying meşgul. You will see the difference, like meşgul, meşgul. That's why, based on the pronunciation, not spelling, I use ü. Okay, anyway, and let's go with moods. Mutlu, kızgın, angry for this. Yes, yesterday we were angry. Evet, evet. Yesterday we were angry. Doğru. Oh, we are doing kızgın. Meşgul was a different example. Kızgınlık. Yes. Tamam. One example, one last example. Let's see. What can we use? We will continue with moods. Oh, this one will be interesting. Heyecanlı. For heyecanlı means excited. For let's go with biz again. I like how everyone starts typing as soon as I mention heyecanlı. Like they start typing the word, the root, and wait for me to say the ending, the suffix. Yeah, they are writing the root in advance and waiting for the suffix, so they can be fast. I made it a competition. I used competition as a condition for you to be, excited, for you to do it. I'm using a psychological tactic again. That was, what was it called? Operant condition? Positive operant? Operant conditioning. Yes, this one. Okay, so with this example, heyecanlı, I aimed to practice the buffer. And all of you seem to have it correctly. That's good. So if the root has a vowel at the end, like iyi in the table, or heyecanlı, ı in the chat, yes, we use an extra y. Heyecanlıydık. And referring back to how I said them two ways, if I remove the buffer, it will not sound as fluid as it sounds. Heyecanlıdık, heyecanlıydık, heyecanlıdık, heyecanlıydık. The second way, I assume you can hear the smooth transition. Heyecanlıydık, heyecanlıdık, heyecanlıydık. Yes, that makes sense. And as I was saying, the difference in pronunciation is mostly for native speakers. We can hear it, but as a foreign speaker, it might not be easy for you to hear it. That's why we have the rules. Okay, so negative of past is the same, değil. This time I will not do practice because it's basically using the same pattern as before. Heyecanlıydık, Heyecanlı değildik. Öğretmendim, öğretmen değildim. İyiydim, iyi değildim. Hastaydım, hasta değildim. It's the same. So instead of sparing the time for this same practice over and over again, let's focus on a new tense, the future. Our last tense, we finally reached the top, but of course the lesson has still a lot to show. After covering this tense, we will talk about the advanced forms. So tune in and stay with us, stay in tune. So the future tense. The future tense is our problem child. It's like the rebellious child in the family. All the first child and the second child, like past and present, they were following the rules. Heyecanlıyım, heyecanlıydım. İyiyim, iyiydim, iyi değilim. The future is like, I don't want to go with these rules. I will use a different way to use it. So I will use olmak. I will bring a friend. So you can't use the same pattern. You can't use the same suffixes. You have to use olmak. Yeah, the youngest child brings a friend to the dinner, to the table. They will not sit with their siblings. He will not sit with the siblings. He will sit with a different friend, olmak. And how does it work? Oh, the color's a little bit difficult on the screen. Okay. So let's remember, öğretmendim. I put the pronoun marker directly on this öğretmendim before, I mean. But now I can't use it directly on the word. I have to insert all and then the future marker and then finally the personal marker. Öğretmen olacağım. Öğretmen olacaksın. So let's do this in comparison between the present. Öğretmenim, öğretmen olacağım. Öğretmensin, öğretmen olacaksın. Öğretmen, öğretmen olacak. Öğretmeniz, öğretmen olacağız. Öğretmensiniz, öğretmen olacaksınız. Öğretmenler, öğretmen olacak veya olacaklar. So I again have good or bad news because having olmak kinda makes the vowel harmony easier, more consistent, because we always have o, like o. So you don't have to worry about the different variations. It's always olacağım, olacaksın, olacak, olacağız. It can't be olacağım or olacağım. It will always follow the o path here. But the bad news, not that bad, but you will need to be careful with the softening. Olacağım, olacaksın, olacak, olacağız, olacaksınız, olacaklar. Okay, and yeah, about the pronunciation, it's not unique to this nominal sentence. I mean, in verbs like geleceğim, the actual, I mean, we spell it as olacağım, but we read it olacağım. We spell it as yapacağım, but we read it as yapacağım. This is like saying I'm gonna in English. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go. Yapacağım, gideceğim. We have the same phenomenon, the same pronunciation in Turkish. And it is actually suggested, it is recommended Saying olacağım sounds unnatural. Like even those people on the TV or even those people who give a formal speech, like the pronunciation gurus, the pronunciation masters, they also use this short version. Yeah, that's what I am saying. We spell yapacağım, but we read yapacağım. Yapacağım. Geleceğim. Soracağım, göreceğim. The short form, the second form is more natural in pronunciation. It is recommended this way. Pronunciation, like professionals, they also teach it this way. Olacağız. Evet. Hi Sami, hoş geldin. Uzun aradan sonra seni burada görmek çok güzel. Evet. Tamam. Pronunciation is not our topic today. We can discuss about it later in a different time. So, negatives. So, I mentioned or I described future as the problem child. He brings Olmak as a friend to the table. So this brings new problems or new solutions. It depends on how you see it. Yeah, we don't use değil. I mean, we can. That's advanced. But if you simply say, this will not be, this time we have to stick with olmak. Forget about değil. With the future tense, if you are saying, I will not be, forget about değil. Play by the rules. Olmak is like a verb, so negate it like a verb. How do we negate a verb? For example, yapmak, to do, yapıyorum. Or yaparım, I do, I am doing. How do we say I don't or I'm not doing? Say yapmam, yapmıyorum. We use the same rule, the same ma. Yes, we use the same ma for the nominal sentences. Let's use the öğretmen example. Ben öğretmenim, present. Ben öğretmen değilim, negative present. But ben öğretmen olacağım, I will be a teacher. How do we say I will not be a teacher? Actually, it's time for the fast, competitive practice now. So let's go with hasta. And I wanted to say it for, yeah, let's go for sis. So, future, you will be sick. No, not is. You will be sick. For future. Evet, evet. Hasta sın değil, sınız. Çünkü siz diyorum. Siz, sınız. Hasta olacaksınız. Sınız. Evet. Gigabay, that's a good point. Let's do it negative. Yours is not correct. Try again. So how do you say negative? You will not be sick. Evet. Evet. Hasta olmayacaksınız. Hasta olmayacaksınız. Tamam. Yeni bir kelime. New word. Let's go with meşgul for biz. We will be busy. Evet, evet. Meşgul olacağız. Uh, you don't have to worry about the exception because we use olmak. We don't touch the root word. And olmak uses the same pattern. It's the same. Meşgul olacağız. Okay, let's make it negative. We will not be busy. So let's see who's first. We will not be busy. Yes, early. Meşgul olmayacağız. Okay, let's have a few more examples. This time with a challenge. Let's do it with both positive and negative. Let's type them at the same time. I will show you an example. Hasta olacağım, hasta olmayacağım. Okay? Type it like this. Olmayacağım. Even I make a typo. So I understand this struggle. Yeah, that's fine. This is just for fun to practice it. Tomorrow there will be homework, so you can take your time to do the exercises. And right now you can watch the others, and like you can think, and you can see if they will have the same answers. Okay, so as I type it and the same, the same like next to each other. Hasta olacağım, hasta olmayacağım. How do we say? Let's think. Kötü and o. It will be bad. It will not be bad. Evet. Okay. Nemo. Kötü olacak, kötü olmayacak. Kötü olacak, kötü olmayacak. Evet, doğru. How about I will use a difficult word this time. Let's see who will get it. I'm trying to think of the longest way to have it. But let's go with, for now I will go with the easy one. Don't worry, don't worry. I will save it the difficult one later. Eğlenceli, fun. It will be fun. It will not be fun. Yes, we have the winner. Eğlenceli olacak. Eğlenceli olmayacak. Evet. Tamam. Last one. Sessiz and biz. Sessiz biz. We will be quiet. We will not be quiet. Yes, winner. Sessiz olacağız. Sessiz olmayacağız. Kesin sessiz olmayacağız. Belki. Tamam. Oyun bitti. Devam ediyoruz dersimize. The game is over. We will continue our lesson. Yeah. Oh, we are even falling behind the presentation. We were already doing this, so I will skip. Olacağım, olmayacağım, olacaksın, olmayacaksın, and advanced forms. So a new chapter begins in the lesson. I'm sure, I mean, probably it has already been difficult for beginners because it's not easy to learn all of those tenses and positive and negative statements at the same time. But after this, the topics will be for difficult, advanced. So I will say, like, lay back, take a deep breath, and just watch. This will give you an idea what to expect as you advance in the language. If you still need more practice with the conjugations, you can check the homework channel tomorrow. And this was the last lesson before the break. There will be no more lessons. So I wanted to choose this lesson because it was one of the most fun lessons 6 months ago. I feel happy and glad that you guys are here. Maalesef Akolia, and this time there's a catch to the break. I'm sorry. Like, I've been doing these lessons for at least like maybe 4 years, 3 years, even before that, but they were not always organized like this. But at least for 3 years, like since 2020, I've been doing consistent weekly lessons every week like this. You can go to the lesson folder. You can see here. You can see all the previous years I've been doing this. You joined the lesson when things were changing. Like, there are a lot of things changing in my life. So I have to give a break with a catch. I will announce the catch later. But yeah, I'm happy to do this last lesson. So it was really nice to have you here. I enjoyed this. I will miss this, I'm sure. So, last words? Any last words? Thank you, Noon. It was good to have you. I will still be around. If you still need anything, you can contact me. Teşekkürler. Teşekkürler. Evet, it was a short time, Akoli and Furley, but I'm happy to meet you too. I'm glad you enjoyed the lessons, the short ones, like a few times, but and all the other remaining regular, long-term friends, long-term members. I appreciate your continuous support. It was what kept me doing this for 3 years. And see you around. I will see you around. Herkese iyi akşamlar. Sonra görüşürüz.